Previously on Dark Age of Man, A Bleak Winter.
London. I'm from London. Brother Aetherwald.
Do not let him die. Every man who can swing an axe is as valuable to the town as it is.
You should present yourself to the lady. Falcone, with a kind of a laugh and a smirk on his face as you're headed out the door.
He said if I would pay my tithes, he would protect me. And
so he basically tells you, I don't need your advice. Let's go to Vidar real quick. Vidar, you are feeling much better, of course.
I sit down the bowl and it's about 3/4 eaten. And oddly enough, the bowl sits there as I stand up and there's a look of determination. I'd been chewing on what Father Falcone said. It was a land of the gods. But I stand up and look at determination. I said, they need to be eradicated from the land. But Washburn can't do it hidden in his keep. No, he needs to go out. I pick up my shield. I will don my chain and over my tunic, which is basically just that sackcloth. I walk out into the main thing and I'll start looking at, because I recall that Sylvester said he would meet me at just on the peripheral.
Right.
Meet me at the Blackwater, start asking around for where he was.
As you do approach the Blackwater, you stumble on a group of torch-bearing peasants. You recognize these guys. As a peasant, you probably had broke bread with him. You'd worked with him. You labored with him. And you recognize a couple of these. And there's about 4 or 5 of them. And they are carrying what they can, torches, pitchforks. And they are telling you, join us, Vidar. We are going out to hunt pagans. We're going out to hunt Mortsmen. They are suggesting vigilante justice.
I look over there at Washburn's keep. Have you seen Sylvester? Isn't he one of Washburn's men?
Yes, Sylvester. We have not seen him since he was here before sundown, but we have not seen him in a couple of hours.
You go out to look for pagans?
We go out to do what the town crier screams for, to eliminate strangers, to get rid of Mort's interlopers, and if we have to, find those cultists.
You follow me. I know a man who can lead us. Let's go find Sylvester. And
Yeah,
okay.
They'll follow you. Okay, so you're headed off. All right, so let's go back to Sylvester, and he has a wagon that we have to do something with.
Okay. So I've got Rolf and Marcus. I'm showing them what we have in front of us. I tap the end of my bow on Rolf's chest and I say, you need to return back to the stockade and find John, and you talk to no one else. If you, on your way back, see anyone, you avoid them. As fast as you can, you tell them what we have found. You are to bring men and horses back here immediately. This wagon needs to go back to our stockade. I point over at the body just a little ways away, and I say, that is one of Mort's men. So he's met his demise at someone else's hand. They've stolen his horses. Now we will steal his goods.
Yeah, and by decree, technically, it's legal to kill him because he's an offender. Yeah.
I point off in the direction back to town, give Rolf a good kick in the ass, and then as soon as he is out of earshot, I turn to Marcus and I say, pilfer what you can for yourself and for Rolf, but the rest we will have to make sure that it goes back to the stockade as soon as we can. Once you're ready to go and we have our own stores, then we'll make our way on to the crossroads and we'll try and find Martin and convince him to come back to the stockade.
And we're assuming you picked the kid that's a little more responsible for this, right?
Marcus,
you couldn't trust, but Rolf, yeah, right.
Apparently they don't pay attention.
So Rolf,
you know what scat is, son?
He's off and running. Marcus is already, the minute you say he's free to take some, he's stuffing stuff in his jerkin, he's
some potatoes.
He's got an apple in his mouth as you speak. I start piling what he can in his stuff.
Yeah.
And at some point he stands up in the back of the wagon and he kind of, with a handful of bread and another apple in his hand, points back toward Washburn Arms. What about Martin and the pagans?
We're only making a stop here. We haven't even completed most of our journey yet. So stuff your mouth on the way and let's beat feet. I whistle for the hounds to gather up and we continue on towards Washburn Arms.
You're only about 75 yards from that. There's no torches lit. I mean, before you approach, you can just look over and see it's dark. There's no lamps in the windows. The inn itself is dark. The chapel, totally dark. Of course, the chapel, nobody's attending the chapel.
Since we can see it's dark, trying to make our way around whichever side has the least amount of windows that can view the exterior is the side that we'll approach from. From there, we'll get to a corner. I'll tell the dogs to stay at this corner, and then Myself and Marcus will start duck walking our way up around towards the front, stop by a window, try and give a little listen, see if we can hear anything from the inside.
It's odd because being the Washburn Inn, you think there'd be some travelers staying at the inn. However, because strangers aren't welcomed lately, it's empty.
Not even a hearth fire is lit.
No, it's almost as if it's been abandoned for the last day or two. That's what you can tell from outside.
So if we don't hear anything, going by the windows and we're kind of figuring this all out, we get up to the front.
And the dogs don't appear to be unnerved.
Once we get to the front, kneeling down, push on the front door, dogs at my back,
right?
Marcus on the other side of the door. Is the door unlocked or unbarred?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so we'll push or pull it open. And then I'll motion for the dogs to go in.
Snouts in the air like they're hunting something. Up on the bar, smelling around, back down, back through into the kitchens of the inn.
Marcus and I will then make our way in. If there's no event that happens within the front room, we'll start sweeping the building.
There's one stairwell up to the second level where there's 3 rooms.
Give a whistle, just point trained, and point upstairs, and let the dogs go up first. Tell Marcus to get his bow out. Okay. And we will follow up, we wait for the dogs to get about halfway up the steps before we start kind of coming up the steps behind them. But we're going to watch whatever is up above us. Is there like a balcony style balustrade or anything up top, or does it go up to a door and then go into someplace?
There is exactly that. The rooms are interior. They're not outside wall rooms. So when you go up, it's like it would go around the outside, and these rooms would have interior doors. So all the rooms would be in the center of the ceiling, so to speak.
Okay.
These 3 rooms. So you actually walk around the edges of the outside of this inn. As you pass around to the back side of the house, which would be the north side of the upstairs, the dog's smelling at every door. Well, there's only about 3 doors. There's 3 rooms, but you spot out the window torches in the distance. You can see a group of torches, as if somebody's hiking away or toward you. You can't tell which direction they're going just yet, but there's a mass of torches.
On foot from the wagon back to Dredgewater, about how long should it take Rolf if he's smart enough to complete this task?
15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got about half an hour round trip to deal with here, possibly.
Yep.
Okay.
Depending on whether he can rouse the help and get all the stuff. Yep. But they would have horses at that point.
Okay. So no inhabitants in any of the rooms.
The dogs are completely disinterested, so they're not picking up a scent or.
We're going to stay in this room for now, where we can view the torches from this vantage point. Try to determine, are they coming towards us? Are they moving away from us? I know from where we were at the wagon that wherever the horses went, they went north too. So either the thieves or the brigands took the horses to meet this group, or they're all part of the same group and heading one way, is what I'm thinking.
You can tell they're coming back
towards. You can tell they're coming towards us.
Arms.
How quick is their pace seem to be coming?
Oh, they're walking. They're not hustling. They're walking, but they are coming back. Think on that while we go over to. All right. You're leading Vigilantes here, Vidar, toward where you knew Sylvester was going.
Yeah.
So you spot with your group, all of them with you, make it easier as they're all looking and you're all marching, torches, etc., toward Washburn Arms. You, out of the corner of your eye, maybe a couple of men to hear it, somebody trying to run around you, hopefully not be seen, headed south toward Dredgewater.
Once I detect this, I give everybody a halt. I just stop, and they could bump into me or run into me or whatever. And they see immediately that my attention, trying to train in on where this thing is that's trying to get around us. Obviously, it's in hiding. It's just trying to leave us. So, then I point pagan.
They don't need much urging. Before you know what you've said, before you know what's going on, they break from you and they run, chasing this figure into the dark. You can hear him screaming as he's running from them. No, I'm a soldier. And you hear them kind of in the distance as these guys have now all took off after him. They're looking for someone to punish, and you have succeeded in sending them before you realize that he might well be Washburn soldier, or maybe not a pagan.
Geared up to find me some pagans to string them up. It's mob mentality, baby. That's what.
So you're standing, for the most part, unless you follow them, you're standing alone now, as they've all taking off.
I'll follow in suit. I'll wait till they pass to make sure everybody goes.
And you can hear somebody screaming as they run away. Now, what you've done is detoured them from Dredgewater, right? They were headed south, you were headed north. You pushed them, and now they're running east away from Dredgewater. Right?
Well, if he didn't have anything to worry about, he wouldn't be running away. So that's my mentality. Is we're harrying him down, you know.
All right, let's go to Brother Aetherwald. Brother Aetherwald, you have broke bread now. The Washburn. You have heard his somewhat delusional, frustrated, angry, maybe sleep-deprived take on the situation. He has introduced you to the soldiers that will be helping you in this. He's thinking he can have this pagan problem sewn up and as quick as possible, get you out of here. You and Falcone can take care of this very quickly. There's plenty of Christians who will help you and support you in this matter. And then he resigns himself to bed. He says, you're free to stay here. My servants will show you the way. Or you, of course, if you have somewhere else you'd rather stay. He recommends the Gold Leaf Inn as the finest establishment, not my manse. However, Samantha charges a nice fee. It is, of course, the flood has endangered it a bit, but it is not unsound as of yet to stay at the Gold Leaf Inn.
And I would thank him and I would take my leave, having no intention of staying in the manse or at the Gold Leaf Inn. But what I would have been doing, not necessarily inconspicuously, but if I was allowed to get away with it, I would have been taking like, an apple here or a roll there or whatever, and kind of, putting them in pockets and whatever. And then I would say, although the hour is late, being that I am new here, I would like to take a quick look around town as much as the cold will permit, and then I will make my way to the church or whatever to bed down. And as I were leaving, are my babysitters going to follow me, or
no?
But
they will. They will ultimately coordinate with you. Where you can be found tomorrow and at what time would you like us to join you. So they'll allow you to tell them all that, and they'll just join you wherever you say. Right.
Okay. Yeah. I would ask that they meet me in the town square at sunup. What I would do at that point is I would go out into Dredgewater and, any like pockets or groups of peasants that I see, I would try to distribute some of the food and, perhaps a blessing, bless the water or whatever they're drinking. And at one point, as my food stores are starting to run really low and I just have one loaf of bread left, I am realizing that this is ridiculous. There's way too many mouths to feed. I think I might drop to my knees kind of a little bit in despair, but also more in a pleading manner. And I would hold up the bread, and I would imagine that, my breath is almost like frosting around it as it's just so cold, and I'm like trembling from the cold, looking up at the moon and just saying, my God, please, why show me what I'm supposed to do? How am I supposed to help these people? Please let this bread feed these people as you did with your son to show them the way. Let me break this bread and feed these hungry masses. For if we can show them your mercy and your love, then perhaps they can help in this conversion of the pagans and bring them into your light without bloodshed. For you've commanded us not to kill, so please bless this bread and let it feed the rest of the hungry. And so I will try to break it. And
you're calling upon a miracle, my friend. While you're in this state of prayer and you feel people come and rip bread from a loaf and then rip more bread from a loaf, and it seems like this goes on forever, and you just like have infinite apples and bread and cheese. And it seems like you're here in this meditative state, and never do you run out as they pull this bread and tear this bread free. They thank you, and as you stir from this meditation, you also have a flash at the same time. Why is Falcone not bringing these people into the chapel? Why is Falcone not shepherding these Christians, these pagans, these people? So you also have an epiphany, so to speak, that there is grotesque incompetence of Falcone's work upon behalf of the Dredgewater residents. They will not forget the miracle that Aetherwald, day one, has served. And they are, when you stir and you come kind of back to your senses and you realize now you have no food left, everyone is kneeling or sitting around you, eating this plentiful, bountiful gift from God.
The moon is probably, starting to wane, and it's long past midnight maybe, and morning is only a
Right.
short time away. I've been awake this whole time, but I'm energized, and I would start to just preach to the people, just letting them know, like, even in the hardest times, trust in God to be there. And sometimes you'll have to endure more than you think you can bear, but if you keep your faith, you'll get through it.
You
Remember
deliver a
this miracle
sermon.
today. I deliver a sermon. Yeah.
At some point during this, 3 pagans tell you tomorrow, when you are doing your baptisms, we will be there, brother. So you've actually got 3 pagans here among this group that have sworn to convert tomorrow when you're
Look at that.
when you're baptized. Right?
Job's done.